This is your Weather Xtreme video for Saturday, December 31st. Happy New Year's Eve. I'm meteorologist Brian Peters. We've got a lot of weather to talk about. There's a look at the satellite image this morning, and we have a lot of clouds as moisture increased across the southeastern U.S., pretty much as anticipated. We have surface high pressure that is off the Southeast U.S. coast, and that's allowing moisture to come up the lower Mississippi River Valley, and our moisture levels even in the lower part of the atmosphere are increasing quite a bit. In the upper atmosphere, we're seeing the tapping in of Pacific moisture as we have a beginnings to the development of southwesterly flow aloft. Radar this morning showing that we do have a lot of patchy pockets of some light rain across the area. Much of the rain, especially over Alabama, not reaching the ground. You can see from the surface reports, we're not getting many in the way of reports over Alabama. There's a few over the western sections of Mississippi and back over Arkansas and Louisiana. But the reason for that is the sounding from the Shelby County Airport last night shows that we have a very dry atmosphere, so it's got to moisten from the top down. And that's also likely to create some issues for us. In anticipation of the heavy rain events along the Gulf Coast, there are flash flood watches in effect from south central Louisiana all the way across to southwest Alabama and a few counties in the northwest Florida panhandle. And then across the northern tier of the United States, you see a number of purple areas. Those are all winter weather advisories. QPF-wise, we are looking at a fairly significant rain event over the next several days. It looks like rain will begin later today and continue off and on Saturday afternoon, evening, Sunday, Monday, and ending on Tuesday. The excessive rainfall outlook for day one includes a part of southwest Alabama. For day two, it also includes southeast Alabama and parts of Georgia. And then for day three, they have a marginal risk over a good portion of the southeastern U.S. as that risk continues. Storm Prediction Center is not outlooking any standard risk areas for severe weather for day one. Day two, we have a fairly large area of the standard slight risk, centered primarily over the eastern two-thirds of the state of Texas. And then for day three, which gets into Monday and early Tuesday, we have a slight risk over Louisiana, East Texas, a good portion of Mississippi, and then a small sliver of the west central to southwest Alabama counties. All right, let's get to some modeling, and there's the GFS forecast for today as we see southerly flow continue as the high moves off into the Atlantic and moisture continues both at aloft and down low. Now, we are concerned about the possibility that we may see some sleet as the precipitation begins. There's a look at the sounding, and as you can see, by 12Z, the forecast sounding suggests that it's going to be moistening all the way down to about the 700 millibar level, but that leaves a very small dry layer where evaporative cooling can go and occur, and that will help to cool down the atmosphere and possibly create some sleet. And then when we look at the profile by 18Z, we're beginning to see it warm up and, of course, moisten up, so the evaporative cooling effects are diminishing. So I think by this afternoon it's all precipitation. The upper flow Sunday, we see a good southwesterly flow as a nice closed low and trough digs into the Baja California area, and that just keeps that moisture pumping up across the northwestern Gulf and the southeastern part of the United States. Monday, a large chunk of that energy comes out in the form of an open trough coming out across the lower Mississippi River Valley, and that will generate a lot of precipitation with a surface low over northwestern Kansas and a front trailing down into the lower Mississippi River Valley. So that's the day we're looking at the possibility of severe weather. Cape values ramp up pretty significantly on Monday as we see values ranging all the way from about 1,000 to a little over 2,000 joules per kilogram. And in addition to that, helicity values, while not stellar, they certainly are sufficient as we have 200 to 300 units there for helicity. So indeed, the possibility of some severe weather is likely to occur. The upper flow, primarily the trough moves off Tuesday, and as it does, that's going to help to basically bring the front on through the area, so precipitation should be ending. Doesn't look like we're going to have any issues with any kind of snow or ice as the precipitation ends. The flow becomes nearly zonal on Wednesday, And it stays that way on Thursday, so we have these little impulses moving through. Plus, the cold air is just more or less settling in, so that by Friday, as we see a disturbance coming through, stretching from southeastern Kansas back into New Mexico, we see that the rain begins to once again shape up as we get to that good southwesterly flow. The rain a little further to the south on Friday, according to the GFS. Now, the GFS is suggesting that we may have a little bit of a band of frozen wintry precipitation, and indeed you can see that wintry precipitation extending basically from about southern Arkansas across northern Mississippi and across the Tennessee River Valley. Looking a little bit closer, you can see it. The primary threat in the blue and orange is going to be that of the Tennessee River Valley. Now, it's interesting to note that the European has really done some flipping and flopping here. This was the previous run of the European. This was 12Z yesterday, and you can see that it had tremendous cold along with a good deal of wintry precipitation, but this morning's run, or last night's run, is completely dry. So that basically changing things out. The trough moves through on Saturday, and as it does, that should sweep any precipitation out of the area. So we should be ending any threats of winter precipitation or any kind of precipitation over the southeastern U.S. And unfortunately, with the models differing so much, the confidence is not terribly good. As James points out in his post, ensembles are the way to go in getting the feel for everything. The GFS in Voodoo country has gone very bullish on the ridge. You can see the ridge here bulging up across the southeastern U.S. on Monday, the 9th of January. By the time we reach Thursday, the 12th of January, the ridge is still there, extending from the just north of the Bahamas up across the eastern part of the country. And then even when we get out to the end of the period, at the 15th of January, we can see that the ridge is still there. So looks like after a rather busy week this week, we could have a week that will be somewhat calmer and more relaxing and less challenging in the forecast department. That'll do it for the Weather Extreme video for this morning. Expect to have the next one posted first thing on Sunday morning. In the meantime, you can always check in with ABC 3340 News at 6 and 10 for the latest on weather forecasts. I'm meteorologist Brian Peters. Have a great day and Godspeed.